What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, ready? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a walkthrough of my recent trip to Bali, which was one of my favorite trips in the entire world. And so it was supposed to be a vlog, but I'm new to vlogging, so it was really just a bunch of B-roll. So we're gonna actually just talk through it, and then clips of the trip is gonna show up throughout this YouTube video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions at all about things to do, or questions about what I did there, drop them in the comments below and I'll make sure to answer them. But hopefully you guys enjoy this walkthrough of my recent trip. Starting off, the whole reason why we were in Bali is because I was teaching at the training camp at Nirvana, which I've heard of Nirvana for so long, and I always dreamed of actually teaching there, or at least going there at some point, because it's the calisthenics hub and is so well known for that. And so when I got the invite to go about a year ago from January, so January 2024, they reached out to me. I was literally so excited because I'd seen Cy Monster teach there, Andre, my friend Acro James had all taught there. So they bring in really great teachers and provide such a different variety of workshops that can happen there. And so to be able to be invited there and be able to teach there for 5 whole days of the training camp alongside Leo was really, really exciting. When you walk into Nirvana, it's you walk in and the glass doors open and it's you're in a whole different bubble. It's basically you don't need to leave once you get there. They have recovery, they have food, they have gyms, they have pools, they have work areas. So if you're someone who works from home, this is literally your, and loves fitness, this is your hub. You can basically stay there and not leave, because one, it's really easy to eat healthy there because they have a menu where you can either buy their custom stuff, which is what they did for us. They laid out a beautiful table of all their most popular items. So every day we got 3 meals, and it was chicken, salmon, beef, and then we also had tempeh and other tofu options, people who were vegan or vegetarian or whichever it may be. And then also just so many different carb sources. So we had rice, we had potatoes, we had different noodle dishes and stuff like that. So it was all very yummy and clean. So if you're someone who's wanting to eat clean when you're traveling, again, Bali's one of the greatest places for that. And then after the food aspect, and you have an area to go work. And so for us, we had 3 different gym spaces that we could teach at. We taught in the garden studio, which is where we did the mobility class on day 1, which is an outdoor area with a big massive tent over top of it. And then you have the indoor area, which is there's a strength training gym. And so it's not bodybuilder per se, but they have everything that you need. They have a lat pull down, they have treadmills, they have free weights, they have dumbbells, everything like that. And then they have the calisthenics gym, which is really cool because it's basically in the center of everything, and then everything else is kind of surrounding it, either behind it or above. And in that calisthenics area, they have a sprung floor, so very similar to what you would see at Monkey Vault. So you could do backflips on there if you wanted to. And then they also have, along the sides, they have the blank wall space for learning handstands. And then on the other side, they have stall bars, which is those ones that are lines basically across the entire wall, and you can do things human flag training, ab training, alignment, stuff like that. So in terms of a facility for gym equipment, especially for me, who's someone who kind of dabbles in everything, it was actually just a dream facility. It was so nice. And then teaching wise, the camp was just a lot of fun because it was geared towards all levels, which was really cool. So obviously when you go into teaching, sometimes you don't really know who's going to show up, because it could be really advanced people or really beginners. And luckily for us, the majority of the camp was more of that beginner intermediate, so it was really easy for us to program and integrate a routine that was going to be really helpful for everyone to learn and get better. However, I would say if you're just sitting there and training, if you're just gonna go visit Nirvana, there's really high level people there, and there's also just beginners as well. So don't ever feel oh, it's not gonna be challenging enough for me if I go, or I won't be able to learn from people if you're someone who's more advanced, because trust me, when I was there, I was extremely humbled. There are people who would just be pop into a one arm and just be standing there chilling, and I was I friggin' wish. So in terms of just an overall environment too, it was just very positive, and I really liked the entire aura of the camp, and it made me really fall in love with calisthenics again. I remember I was texting Dal, I was texting my mom and everything like that, just texting them saying, I miss this type of community so much. The way I felt my body was refueled with just positive energy when I was there was just a really key factor for me to remember. I love calisthenics. Obviously I'm in bodybuilding right now, but I cannot wait to go back to calisthenics and do a trip out there just for myself and go train there on my own, because the people there are just so nice, and everyone's just wanting to hang out and chill. And if there's a group of people doing handstands, you can just go join that group of people. Or if they're, just chatting about technique about one arms, you can join in that conversation regardless of what level you're in. And everyone's just really open and friendly, and there's no gatekeeping or I don't know, I feel some sports and some stuff like that, there's jealousy and people don't like to share. I'm not gonna name sports. In calisthenics in particular, I just find it's a very really nice group of people, and it just made me really miss that. So I was really glad to be a part of it. let me try to like break down the camp a little bit more for you guys, because I know in terms of if anyone's looking to do the camp ever again, or like looking to do or travel to them, because they always host them all the time. It was a 5-day camp, and we had 4 days of training and 1 excursion day. And so the 4 days of training was 3 hours, like 2 3-hour blocks. I know they're going to change that though to maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just because we did find it quite challenging for most people to do 3 hours at a time. But then while you're there, you have full access to the entire facility. So everything I just talked about in terms of like cold plunge, sauna. They also have like a biohacking area where you can get like the vitamin drips. You can get cryotherapy, more infrared sauna. And then obviously you also do the entire like programming of the camp, so whatever teachers are teaching. And then on the excursion day, it was really fun because we got to go out to ATVing and whitewater rafting, which was so much fun. I personally, I like looking at water. I don't like being in water. So whitewater rafting for me was like a little bit spooky, only because I don't like falling into water or the chance of falling into water. I just, not my cup of tea. But it was really fun. And it was like a nice, like calm river. Like we went during rainy season, so it wasn't like hectic yet because it hadn't like filled up the river yet. So we went to Ubud for that. And then ATVing, listen, girly pop can't drive. I wish someone got this on tape. But literally there was like, they took us to the coolest thing ever. It was like you got to go through caves, you got to go through more of like a deserty looking area, and that's where I almost died. And then you also got to go through the forest. But the desert area, it was like, I thought it was a half pipe, apparently, because I went up one side and then almost flipped my entire body, and the ATV almost crushed me. And like literally the guy behind me was like, oh my God, like the guy who worked there, he's like, I almost saw you fall. And I was like, why didn't you help me? But like, it was just a lot of fun. So in terms of things to do in Bali, I'll get to that now because like the camp stuff is all over. There is so much to do. So the first city we were in, which was Canggu, which is where Nirvana is, it's more of like city vibes. So you can do like a lot of shopping there. That's where I got like a lot of my gifts for my friends and stuff like that. And then you can also do really good eating there. You can do really good eating. You can have really good food there. That's the actual English that's supposed to come out of my mouth. You can literally get, like I remember I had a bone marrow burger, which like that sounds expensive, does it not? And it was $11, okay? Anything like that in Canada or North America would have been like 30 some dollars. So to give you an idea of what their dollar is versus ours, Bali, about $1 million is around, I think it's $60 USD and like $85, $87 Canadian. So, I mean, you can ball out in Bali if you really want to, but it just goes to show that you can have a really good time and not really spend that much money because our dollar in North America is superior to theirs. So in terms of like hotels and villas and stuff like that, I would say out of the hotels that I stayed at, the villas were nicer. So if you go there, I would recommend staying in a villa because one of our friends stayed in one and it was literally like, it was 2-bedroom, they had their own pool, they had their own sauna, they had a cold plunge, and they had people come in and cook for them. And I think it was like maybe $200 a night versus a hotel was I think $350, $400 depending on where you stayed. To get like, the hotel is nice, but like the villa is just like so much better. So I do highly recommend doing villa over a hotel. Plus then you get to also like support like the local people who are running businesses there and stuff like that too, which I think is really good. And then we went to Ubud, which is where a lot of the excursion stuff was. So when we got there, we stayed at 5 Elements, which is a little bit out of the ways, like in the depths of the forest. However, I would say if you're like a yoga, meditation, someone who wants to like get away and like fully like relax and submerge yourself into like that type of environment, it's very much perfect for that. For me, I'm not a huge meditation person, as you guys know, and I'm not like a big sound bath person, so like I didn't get as much benefit as being there. It was just really like a really beautiful resort for me to like stay in and be in, but it's not like I really took advantage of too much. I did do the morning yoga a couple times, and I did find that enjoyable. However, we were very much in the depths of the forest, and it took us about 30 minutes to get out of that resort. So if it was me staying there again, I would stay closer to actual like downtown Ubud is what I'm gonna call it. I could be wrong, but like basically where the city is more, because that's again where like more of the shops are. That's where the shops are. And then you can also get to the rice fields, which we went to go look at, which was beautiful. The monkey forest. The excursions, you can fit like 2 or 3 in one day because they are very accustomed to travelers there. Like tourism is like, they got it down pat. Like when you walk in to do the rice forest, wow, I just combined 2 different things. Rice field. When you walked in to do the rice field, Dell's looking at me like, girly pop, you have no idea what you're talking about right now. When you walk in, it's like one separate entrance for people who go in. They literally like have you like, what do you want to do? Here it is, pay for it. And they take you down another staircase, almost as if it's like stationed. It's like, here's a zip line, here's where you take pictures, here's where you walk down. And it's just like, you can get it all done within like 15 minutes. So even though it sounds like in a big excursion, when you look at pictures, you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take us all day. No, It will not take you all day. Max it'll take you is like 45 to an hour. Same thing with the waterfall. Again, pictures make it look so beautiful, so amazing, so big. However, it's only just like a quick little walk down a staircase because they've now like more modernized it where they have like shops along the side. You take stairs down and like there's a beautiful waterfall. So again, don't think of it as like big excursion hikes when you're in those areas. To get to the big ones like that where you spend like an hour or 2 hours hiking towards a beautiful scenery, that's like in different parts of Bali. But Canggu and Ubud in particular, everything's relatively like fast. They're like very used to tourism. One of the cool things that I think I did, and it's like one of those ones where it's like, I don't think I would wait 5 hours to do it, but we had to wait 2 hours to do it, was going to the temple. I believe in translation, it's like the gateway to heaven, I'm pretty sure it is. It's the one that I posted on my Instagram that was really cool that had like, it looked like a reflection. And so this is what I mean by they have it down pat in terms of how to like do touristy things. They literally have you pay for your ticket, they give you a number, then you go up, and there's a guy sitting there with a camera and a mirror, like ready to take your picture, and he goes, pose, 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 and they just like go through it, but it's like so fast. And so when we got there, it was like at 164, and we were at number 268. I literally thought I was gonna be there all day, but I was like, I have waited so long, I'm gonna get my freaking picture. And it was only a 2 hour wait. I do know some people who've waited 4 or 5 hours, a lot. But my biggest tip for this one would be to one, like bring some form of entertainment. So like bring a book or bring like a card game for you and your friends to play if you're gonna be there with more than one person, because it is a wait. The other thing, snacks. Bring snacks because you get hungry. Bring water. Because they make you wear, no, it's not that's Japanese. Shoot, I forget what it's called, but again, I'm gonna put it in the video so you guys know. But the colors of them are typically bright colors. So I wore all black and shorts. I wouldn't recommend wearing shorts. And if you do, like maybe wear like a skirt, because when they tie it around you, like it can like flow better. I feel like the shorts, like one, I felt self-conscious because I didn't want to like expose my leg and like be disrespectful. And so to be more covered, I would definitely recommend, but because it's so hot, like definitely more of like a flowy skirt vibe, and then a neutral top. Because as a female, you can't have your shoulders showing. So if you wore like a white t-shirt, that would be a lot better. I was in a black tank top, so then I had to like cover both like my bottoms and my top, versus I would just have to like have like a nice brightly colored bottom, and like a plain top would look really cute for the pictures. That is one thing that I do wish I did. And so no one told me that either. They just told me that I had to be going to a temple. I read the instructions. It said no handstands, no feet above head is what it said. So I said, okay, none of that. I feel like everyone and their brother told me about Bali Belly, and I was terrified that I was gonna get it because apparently it's really bad. Like people like throw up like a lot. I would say as long as you're not like careless, you're fine. Obviously I know it's really hot there, so you wanna get like an iced coffee and stuff like that. Probably don't recommend anything with like their ice cubes in it, just because again, like that's kind of like where you can get Bali Belly. So if you do, just make sure it's like more at like the actual, like Nirvana, it was safe to get ice in our drinks because we knew that it was like all like filtered water and stuff like that. But you can also just like ask them to like where the water for their ice cube is made if you want, but also you could also just avoid it. And then also just don't have their fruits and vegetables with like if they've washed it on the peel and stuff like that, like things like apples, like peel it if you're gonna do that. And then just always make sure like you have like a nice big liter of water that is readily available, because it is so freaking hot there. I was so dehydrated. I ended up drinking like 5 liters of water. Yeah, so just lots of water, but like bottled water, so that way you don't get Bali Belly. I would say in terms of things that I wish I was able to do, there was swimming with the dolphins, which I so wish I got to do because I saw people's pictures, and like I'll send down the links of like their photos and stuff so you guys can like see it here and be like, ooh, I wanna go do that. But literally there was like, this is me, dolphin right there. That would have been so cool. So I really wish I got to do that. So when I go back next time, I'll definitely make time to do that. And there's also this other hike at this beach. I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm just gonna write it at the top what the name of the beach is. And apparently it's kind of like, it's untouched right now because the hike down is relatively like dangerous. So most people don't choose to do it, and it's like a kind of a day trip. Like you have to take a boat to a different island and then hike down and see the beach. So it's usually like you spend the day there and then you go back. So we didn't have time to do it this trip, but it's like apparently one of the most beautiful beaches, so I will put that in there because that's something that I wish I got to do that I didn't get to do. And then other than that, I feel like on this trip it was one of those things again where I actually got to enjoy myself and not like, I made content because I wanted to, not because I felt like, oh, I have to go meet up with a creator, or I have to go do this for this person, or I have to like, I feel pressure to like post for myself. This was the first time in a very long time that I was able just to like relax and just actually enjoy what was going on. And I think that has a lot to do with also just the vibe that Bali brings. So if you're someone who's just wanting kind of like a reset and looking for something or somewhere to go where you can like have good weather, be fit and still like stay relatively on your diet, but feel like you're relaxing, I would 100% recommend Bali, because that's exactly how I felt. And even being on my like diet, reverse diet, it could have been a lot worse for me, but because I was able to like have my proteins, have my carbs and everything, I was able to stay relatively close to what I was supposed to be eating, but still like enjoy the good food and like enjoy like more Balinesian style dishes or like their spices and stuff like that, and not feel, one, you should never feel guilty about what you eat, but I didn't have to feel like stressed out about like, oh, I have to be eating a certain way, because that's how I've been traveling for the last like 2 years, is typically like I feel pressure to stick to my like bodybuilding life, to be like an athlete, and this was the first time again where I feel like I got to relax a little bit, which was really nice. So that's why this trip meant so much to me, and that's why I got a tattoo. It's a little scooter, because I don't know if you guys can see it. So they scoot around everywhere in Bali, and like scooters are so cheap. I definitely think that if you're an experienced driver, which I am not, you could probably do the scootering on your own, but I just downloaded the app Grab or Gojek, and you basically just get someone to drive you around on that. It's like the equivalent of Uber, but it's so much cheaper. So I think my most expensive scooter trip of like 40 minutes was like $3. So like definitely scoot around, because you can get a van or a car, but it takes you, one, a lot longer because scooters just take over there, but like two, it's a little bit more expensive, and it's more comfortable to be on a scooter, to be honest. You get to like just look around and just like have fun. Like you'll see in like my B-roll footage too, like I'm literally just like with my camera holding like this on the scooter, so that way you guys can see like what's going on. But that's basically how we got around. But when I first got to Bali, I'm used to North America being sketchy, okay? And I went there, like I went to go meet my friend at like 9 p.m. for dinner, and he originally drove us to the restaurant that we were eating at. And then he was like, okay, we're just gonna get you a scooter and you're gonna go back to your hotel. And I was like, oh, it's like 10:30 p.m. I'm like, it's nighttime. How can I get on a scooter by myself? I was literally terrified. And I was like, what if someone attacks me? What if they kidnap me? And he's like, oh, Taylor, that doesn't happen in Bali. Like the crime rate in Bali is very much lower, because also it has to do with like their religion and who they are as people, and they just like, there's a lot less crime there, which made me feel really safe. But again, the first time going there and doing a scooter at like 10:30 p.m., I was like, nope, I'm for sure gonna get kidnapped. This is it. My first day in Bali. I'm gonna die. And I got on the scooter, made it home, clearly. And I think for me, it was just like one of those moments, like the reason why I got the scooter was, it was like who I was going into that vacation, which was like someone coming out of Olympia, someone very stressed and like feeling a lot of pressure and just feeling very like hyper fixated on like, I have to be in this bodybuilding space, like this is all that matters. And I kind of lost track of like life as a whole and things that really bring me joy. And to go from that person to like the person at the end of my trip who was like more relaxed and able to enjoy things again, it was like that little like transition from like being super stressed out that I'm gonna get on a freaking scooter to like my last day being like, woo, I'm gonna scoot everywhere. So I just think like that's kind of the meaning behind my tattoo, is just like it's a symbolism of like how great of a trip Bali was and how it transformed me from a person. And just like that little, I want to call it like an analogy kind of, is the scooter. So that's why I got it, if people are ever asking. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know. I can also, like, if anyone actually goes, like, shoot me a DM and I can give you the driver that we use, because when you go really far away, like, you do have to get a driver for those things. But it's easier and cheaper to get like a driver for the day than it is to pay for like the individual like app stuff like that. And plus, like, again, these people it's like work for them. So to be able to like support one person and like their families and stuff like that, it feels really good to just be able to like have that person for your entire week and know that you're like helping them out, especially like towards the end of your trip when you have like all like, you haven't spent all your money. Like, it's nice just to like give back, because they honestly do just treat everyone so well and they really go out of their way. So an example, our driver was like, oh, like, you like shopping? Let us take you here because this is actually like cheaper pricing or like better food. Like, he had such good recommendations. So just to be able to like appreciate them and everything they do, because as visitors, I feel like that sometimes gets overlooked. So it's just like, it's a really good environment and it's nice to be in it, and just I would love to go back. So that is it for my summary of Bali. If you guys like this style of video, obviously this is my first time doing it, so we will get better. It's kind of like trial and error with it. But if you guys do like more of like the review style of trips, I do plan on doing more trips in 2025. I want to go to Asia for like a month. So if you're anyone who lives in Japan, Vietnam, Korea, or Singapore, let me freaking know, because I'm gonna be coming there. And then I also might actually like swing by Bali, because I'm all the way over there anyways. But I wanna do like a whole like Asia trip, not Asian, I'm Asian. A whole Asia trip and see everywhere, because I really realize that I've missed traveling for fun. And so I'm really excited for that. So once I do that, I can kind of like you know, do reviews on stuff. If you guys want to do reviews on like specific, like, oh, like, is it good to try like TikTok restaurants? Like, I'll go there and try that. Or like specific things that you guys have seen online. Like, is it really worth all the hype? I am happy to do that and just give you guys a good review and my experience. But all in all, I rate Bali a solid 9.5 out of 10. I friggin' loved it. So that's it.